Heyo folks, Dude Dutch here, and welcome to my last part of the playthrough of the Warframe Second Dream questline. Now, it's been a while since the last one, I have to admit. A bit. Not actually that much, but I thought it was about time I wrapped this up with this last little commentary of the last of the missions that involve the Second Dream quest. Now, this one is a pretty interesting one because this really wraps up it all and it shows a lot of story-focused elements. If you're expecting a lot of combat, I'm afraid I'm going to have to disappoint you because there is a severe lack of it, as you can see, as we hear. I have an attempt at confronting sentient warriors, but I decided just to get the heck out of there. Now, I have to admit, this is probably one of the most story-based areas where we get some more background information about the Tenno and everything that happened in between, as well as the creation of the Warframes. Now, there's quite a bit of text about it, about the Tenno, like I said, in the Warframes and such, and I'll get into that detail in possibly a future video that I want to discuss, which is my own theory. You can probably find better theories about it across the internet, but I wanted to create my own on how I think the whole matter is connected. Now, as you can probably know, there's some strange, echoes of the past stuff going on in the background. Now, this is one thing that I wanted to show in separate in this video because it actually holds in a little bit of important information about the Tenno and everything that occurred to them being what they are, so I decided to create a little bit of a separate part of it in which you can then listen to it exactly on what it means. So, hope you guys, I'll share that right now and then I'll give my insights about what I think about it afterwards. Sealed in, so that should be interesting to see.
This will stop the voices from taking hold. You will have to dream, my angel.
So shame on you! You Orican! So perfect on the outside, but you're rotted through and through!
7 hands raised. For your apostasy, the judgment is death. Margulis, why? It's about the other rejects we consigned to Lua a few years ago. They're calling it transference. I know we are desperate, Executor, but these aren't Dax soldiers. These are golems possessed by devil minds.
Now, as those little audio bits clearly show, there's definitely some conversation going on with individuals from long before when we enter as the player into the universe of Warframe, which clearly shows there was some interesting going on. There are some name droppings as well as a location, which is Lua, which is a location located on Earth. They haven't shown anything in there, could still happen, but Earth is a very interesting place because, as they said, it seems to be like a very important central focal point to the whole matter because it definitely is tied in with the whole mess with it. Apparently, the moon was an important structure to everything to the Orican. And there's also a name dropped, the female one. We of course get a voice for it, which is Morgulis, which hasn't been stated in any way what her connection is to it. Neither is the other male voice, that is involved, which appears to be some kind of, best said, a very close friend to this Morgulis individual, who is very closely linked to the Tenno themselves, which will be explained later on in the video, which will be clearly shown. Now, and I will get into it myself. Now, we are getting pretty close to a pretty important cutscene, so at that point I will allow once again the game audio to do some of the interpretation itself, and then I'll get into the details and exactly what I've been thinking on how this is all working on the Tenno, the Warframe, and everything in general. So I hope you guys stick around for this because it's about to get very, very mind-blowy. Hope you guys get to enjoy this a little bit. See you till then, guys.
Dream. Not of what you are, but of what you want to be.
You hesitate, Shadow, but remember your despair. This is your only chance to make it end. Your hatred is too weak, Shadow. Mine is strong. My fragments will finish this.
And, well, this just happened. Trust me, when I saw this, I was as surprised as everybody else. We're literally a living human being outside of this thing. Which immediately raises the question, what the heck is a Warframe exactly? Now, according to what we could listen from the male voice at the last sound bit, who addressed this executor, he spoke of what basically I think is a reference to the Warframe itself. It is a golem possessed by a devil mind. Now later on this gets explained, but I wanted to get into it immediately right now. But at the moment though, I'd rather think I really want to talk about it right now, but I think I'll just leave that for later, because at the moment I have to deal with these things, which are pretty much a pain in the ass. As you can clearly see, it is taking quite a bit of a hassle to take them down, so I can't imagine doing this actually with a Warframe, considering that apparently my power, as well a Tenno, which is the body that's being carried by the Warframe, apparently it's quite powerful, considering I have a disintegration beam, technically speaking. It is strong enough to literally just rip these things apart. It kind of speaks for the power of these dudes in general. As you can see, this thing shows up. I just unleash heck, and it's gone. That's how. Look at that! Look at that! And I'm supposed to be terrified about these things usually. That this thing, with this power, this thing is a joke. I literally just rip through it like it's absolutely nothing. Like literally, it's no hassle at all. Mostly requires good aiming for my part, which is, of course, once again in short supply. But still, considering what this thing can do, it's pretty impressive. You gotta admit that. Now, this is basically a part where I was like, so I just need to get the heck out, which is clearly indicated on the minimap pretty obviously. I'm just being carried out here by my Excalibur. Now, these sentient dudes, they're just a pain in the ass, and at this point, and I can imagine even, I haven't faced them yet with my Warframe, and I'm not looking forward to that time. If I have to do it, I hope I have some backup, because these things are going to be, like I said, a pretty pain in the ass to deal with. Right now, with just the amazing Tenno power that I have, it's pretty much a cakewalk. Now, that thing just blew up like heck, and, well, we get onto the ship, and then we have to make our way to an interesting little location from there. So, yeah, that's about to be shown. As you can see, we're now on board the ship, and we need to get to the back. Now, again, a pretty important little cutscene will be shown pretty rapidly, but I'll just get to wrap this up. Now, I was thinking I'm pretty much in the clear at this point. I mean, I'm in my ship. What the heck could happen? I mean, clearly, this is my ship. I've never been attacked on this thing. This thing barely comes into danger. And then this dude just shows up inside of my ship. Even, it's not very hard because I tried to shoot at him, but it's not working that much. But he was trying to hit me with what seems to be his version of, well, the Exalted Blade, and I just kept shooting it with my energy, and it kind of, well, blocked whatever he was trying to throw at me, which worked out quite well. So it's about to get to an interesting little bit in a moment. Again, I will not make any commentary during that because, well, I don't want to interrupt it. But as you can see, this dude is pretty determined in taking me down. He is not giving up. Neither am I. And I can be very persistent. So here comes the interesting little bit, and now I'll stay quiet.
No self, no sense, no death. Just a metal puppet dangling on Tenno strings. Only the Tenno's death will end your despair. All your dread-long life, you've waited for this moment. But you're asking yourself, was I one of these wretched things? You know the answer. You still hate them. You still hate yourself. What is this?
Now we fight on two fronts, my child. The war without, and the war within.
So, yeah, that just happened. We get a face! We get an actual face! We literally get to create a character that we want. We literally get to create a unique character that is how we want it to be. The Warframes are in no way associated. This is the real Tenno. Now, this character customization goes not too deep, but it has enough variety at least to make it interesting. So, this was a very big surprise for me too. And at this point, I was boom, mind blown, just literally mind blown. I mean, nobody could have expected this. Nobody. Now, as you can see, the hairstyles aren't in a large variety. So I just went with the least gayish of the bunch and the least weird. But if you imagine this, nobody could have expected this. Nobody who've played this game for so long could have expected that they actually put in this much, work into then bringing in a full character customization. And man, I was like, so yeah. This is big. I mean, like, really really big. Now, I won't show the whole character customization because it's gonna get long-winded, but I was really surprised by this. Now, I really liked it, so I can give my opinions about the whole second Dream Quest. To be honest, I gotta say, it's a impressive amount of thing. I mean, nobody could have expected this, even at the end of it. They've done some quests, they give us some background, sometimes some nice little gear, but this takes a whole new level. I mean, this thing isn't even just, you know, like, here you go, now you have a face to stick under that helmet of yours. No, this is actually involved in a new system called the Focus system, which is, in a way, a bit of a prestige system, which allows you to use max-ranked Warframes to then collect the affinity that you do. A portion of it is then used as a way to gather up focus, which allows you to improve a certain fighting technique in a way that you learn along the way. Now, I'm not going to get into details just yet about what that is, but it's pretty deep. I mean, they're going full blown with this. I mean, I gotta admit, this is very impressive work from them. Now, I have to say that I really didn't expect this from anything. I don't even think anybody who didn't check the internet couldn't have expected this. This is immense. I mean, nobody, like I said again, nobody expected this, but so that's what this second dream is all about, as it will explain a little bit later. It's all about the idea, like, you're basically been dreaming in a way. Now, how does that work exactly? Well, it's got me into the theorization of what Tenno are. Now, as it was explained by a certain character, how it is how it is explained to us.
We will bring honor to the Tenno.
So, what does it exactly entail? Well, basically, what it comes down to is the Warframes. I can't put it in any way. There's some kind of, well, as even, you know, Han Hao puts it, it's basically like a puppet on strings, mind strings in a way. This is like, you know, if you've seen Ultron, you get the idea. Like, you're controlling a body that isn't your own. You're controlling it from the outside. Now, that's pretty impressive because, to be honest, that literally shows the level of power that these Tenno have, which is immense if you think about it. They can control some of the most, they can actually conduct their powers through it, or at least they're being altered in such a way that it can be used, as is clearly shown with some of the Warframes like Ember, Falls, and Saren, as in that they somehow learn to manipulate certain, you know, properties or abilities, or in that sort of fashion, on how they can be altered, like, you know, the ability to create fire, poison, electricity, ice, all that sort of thing. And everything else, it's just, I could go on about this for a while, but basically this is better to be something to discuss that I want to discuss in my own little video about the whole thing, about what Warframes are, what the Tenno are. But at this point, it is just, I can't really describe any of this stuff. It is incredible. I have to say, it is really impressive that they've done this. So, I'm gonna have to be honest with you, nobody could have expected this. At least I didn't expect it. So, yeah, but I think it's about time that I come to the conclusion of what I think about all this. The second dream has been a blast for me. It's also been quite a bit of an arduous strain. It took quite a bit of time, but I've enjoyed it thoroughly. It's been a very cool ride to go to. It's not necessarily something throughout the missions you do, but it's the story things that sometimes get me. And this is a story that is explained quite well to a degree. So, to be, well, and to be honest, I can't really say much. There's nothing really special about it, except, of course, at this bit. The last bit really shows off the biggest things, and of course, all of a sudden, the returning of the moon. The moon is now actually in place. I've already seen it. It is actually now part of the, let's say, mission tile sets placed around Earth. So you can go there. Now, I'm going to go deeper into the story, like I said, in a future video. I wanted to discuss about it. But this is basically the whole gist of the second dream. It is amazing, and I'll get into one little thing later on, which will be a little bit after this, after the whole character introduction and the creation. So I'll show you that a little bit, and also some of the dialogue choices. You get to choose dialogue. That's an interesting little feature. So I'll show that right now, and then I'll talk about what sort of, because this isn't just a cosmetic thing, you do get something out of it. So that's a little nice little thing that they did. So I'll just show that now, and then talk about that as well. See you guys. Well,
My child, so beautiful to behold. How do you feel?
I'm confused. I thought I was...
I know. Forgive me. This is who you really are, a Tenno. More than human, but once a child like any other. What do you remember?
The soft lines of a hand. My mother's, I think. We were watching the stars, awaiting the jump to Tau. She was afraid.
Memories. From your time aboard the Zariman 10-0, before the void jump accident. It was years before the ship was recovered. It was drifting dead in space, all her crew gone, except the children.
We were just kids, but they were afraid of what we could do. When they tried to treat us like rats, I stood up to them. I wasn't going to let them divide us after what we've been through.
You were so brave, but the Orokin were afraid of you. The void had changed you, and you couldn't control it. No one could. They were about to destroy the orphans of 10-0, but Margulis, she loved you. She found a way.
She put us into the dream, brought us peace. I remember we could still hear her voice raging at the leaders for their mistreatment of us. When they executed her, well, I could not let that go.
The Orokin murdered Margulis, used her work to create transference. Your mind projected into a surrogate strong enough to withstand your power. It felt like waking up, but it was just a lucid second dream.
It was a shadow underneath what we did. That sensation of being a victim, of being helpless. I took up the sword to protect those in need.
And so you became Tenno, serving the Orokin, but bound by honor. As the Tenno grew, they founded great schools, the Tenno ways. Do you see yours?
So at this point, we need to select a unique sort of way that is tiled into what you would like to have, but it's also tied in what can best be compared to, I'd say, both military strategy that was implemented, that was well known throughout Asian history, as well as martial arts that were practiced over the course of, well, Asian history. I'm using Asian as the most general focus point because I'm not an expert on these things, so you get to choose between different versions, which is Vazarin, Unairu, Madurai, Zenurik, and Naramon. Now, each of these is unique to its own way because it's shown with an emblem, but it is all around the idea of that they each have a certain style that works with you. For example, Vazarin is with move with the enemy. It's meant to counter it. So that's what water is always about. It flows. It uses itself, its own energy and that of its enemy to defeat it. Now, the other one is Unairu, which is a mountain, which is meant to endure. It's supposed to withstand everything that is being thrown at you, and that's what they're going for because this unlocks a fifth ability. Now, this ability is always the same no matter what Warframe you have, but its effects depend on which one you focus. Some are supportive, others are much more offensive based, and some are more, well, basically it comes down to either a defensive or offensive style of play. And each one is different in its own way. For example, the Vazarin way is a very supportive effect, which allows you to heal up, and even if you get to upgrade it further enough, even resurrect allies. Now, I haven't looked at all of them, but they're all very unique in their own way. One of them gives you a focused blast. I've seen a few in action, and it was very interesting to see. They are very, well, varied, and I like that. Like, they're all different. So, you even in this simple something they could have generalized, they still created unique designs. And that's something I have to give credit to DE for, to creating something this, well, still pretty, relatively deep in something that is so, not necessarily important thing. They could have just gone with, here's a character. Happy now? Done. No, they went full blown and made it a part of it. So it created something that is pretty much unique. So this gives even more, this kind of feeling of player customization within the entire Warframe design, which was already done with the different custom appearances of the Warframes and everything else. And, well, this shows even more of it. So I have to say that this has done a fantastic job at it. Big props to DE for this. I gotta say, I've really enjoyed the whole matter of this. And I can't say any much more about it right now. I'm gonna probably go into more deep into it later on. But I want to conclude it here. So I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, this has been my wrap-up of the Second Dream Quest. Hope you've enjoyed it. And if you like my videos, please subscribe to them. And if you want to help me grow, please share them with anyone you think would be interested in this. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. And see you to the next video. Adios, and till the next one. Bye-bye!